Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Welcome to Creating Connections Podcast, episode 167. I'm Vickie Musni.
And I'm Mitch Taylor.
Today we have a really special guest joining us.
This man got a second chance on life, and he has certainly made the most of it. He's a former Armed DJ's DJ of the Year and the founder of the Mixposium. He's paid off a ton of debt and found financial freedom, and he lives by three words: faith, family, excellence. Please welcome to the Creating Connections podcast, Jamie Bodie.
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections podcast with Gitomer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vickie Musni.
Creating Connections podcast, episode 167. Thanks for joining us. We have a special guest today, Jamie Bodie.
Welcome, Jamie.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. Greatly appreciate you being here.
Jamie, there's several things that I feel like you are known for in our industry, but one that I feel like I hear referenced, and maybe not everybody knows the whole story, is your story. We know that you had a big incident. Is that a good word for it?
That's a good word.
A life-changing situation. Would you just share briefly what happened and what you learned from that experience?
Sure. July 24th of 1998 at about 3:56 in the afternoon. Oh, just about 3:56. I was in a gyrocopter crash. I was in a plane crash. And I spent 2 months of my life in a hospital with lots of broken pieces and parts. And then that led to that, along with my wife and I's stupidity, led to a financial train wreck that it took us several years. It was actually, let's say it was 10 years later that we started getting our stuff together through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. And 2 years after we started that, we were debt-free. We paid off $100,000 in debt, and we have not gone back into debt for anything since, and continue to be smart with our money. And
okay,
I just realized
really quickly, Jamie, you really did just say $100,000 worth of debt paid off in 2 years?
Yes.
I was just making sure that I heard that right and that everyone heard that right, because that's remarkable.
We found that there's a great place to go when you're broke, and that's to work. And we did. I was working 2 full-time jobs at the time. My wife was, she was stocking cards at Walmart for Hallmark, and then helping run JLK events as we got it started. So we were both working more than one job and being very wise with our money.
A funny aside, I'm going to throw this in here. When you and I first met, I think it was back when we first met, around that same time, your company was a different name. Sorry, I have to ask.
No. It's hard to be vastly successful with a name like Jamie's Porta Party, and that was the original name of my business.
I love it. I love it. I think I mentioned you on a live at 7:55 about what's in a name. And I mentioned, the Porta Party thing versus JLK events now. And
so for those who don't know the story, again, could you just tell what JLK stands for? I know what it stands for. I think so.
JLK, we were struggling to come up with a name that was all inclusive because we'd been through a couple business name changes. Obviously, Jamie's Porta Party was not my greatest choice. It was a lot of fun when I was 19, and then we went to Low Country Lights, but then that was limiting us in our region that we served. And so after that, we were looking for something that didn't limit us either way. And we just came up with JLK events, and J is for Jamie, and L is for Liz, and K is for the kids. So Jamie, Liz, and the kids.
Cool.
So getting down to right to the heart of what matters.
Yeah, for us.
Yeah, that's very cool.
We're faith, family, and excellence. That's our tagline.
Yeah, and that name encompasses that. I love that.
And so financial freedom, tell us about that a little more.
So financial freedom, we were trying to keep up with everybody else, not even realizing we were trying to keep up with everybody else. We just didn't know what to do. And I was clueless. And so I was seeing my neighbors who must make approximately the same amount of money as I do because they live in the same neighborhood. Well, they would go out and buy a new car, and they would have this and they would have that. And so we kind of followed suit, not realizing that it was getting us deeper and deeper into debt, and that wasn't the way things should be done. And when we got into financial peace, we realized that there is a better way to do it. It's what I call lifting the curtain to show the man behind the curtain who's really pulling the rods. Wizard of Oz reference there, but it's not rocket science handling your money, because I was able to do it. I think pretty much anybody can.
Mm-hmm.
So we just started doing smart things with our money once we were exposed to them, and that's kind of what I do now. I help people get exposed. I'm not a financial planner. I'm not going to walk you through all the stages of your life, but I can get you past the broken, stupid part.
Awesome.
So just if you had to pick like a starting point piece of advice, if someone is finding themselves in that situation where they're struggling or they're realizing their debt is beginning to consume them or has become unmanageable, where do they start?
Well, the first place to start is where I started, and that's take Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. But the first place to start is to stop borrowing money. Stop it. It's not helping you. It's hurting you. Stop. That's the crux of the problem. So nobody can get themselves financially straight while they're going deeper and deeper into debt.
Yeah, Michelle and I went through this, and ironically enough, we took financial peace literally right after the biggest vacation we ever spent money on.
Perfect timing.
I'm not kidding. Not kidding. We went on a luxury yacht cruise and spent over $6,000 to go on this cruise. And literally the next week we came back from the cruise. We're in a Financial Peace University class.
That's awesome.
So it's
we
changed
must be
my life.
remedial. Craig and I took it 3 times before it really finally clicked. And I think part of that was just our challenges with applying it to the business side and being 100% self-employed during the first 2 times that we took it. And so there's a lot of incredible principles there, but I think you're right. The first place to start is just to stop being dumb and stop spending money that you don't have. And
that's right.
Simple, but it's really hard to do because our society is not sending us those messages in general. The messages we get from everywhere else is, you deserve this, and I'll have it now and pay for it as you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's easy to let those thoughts kind of creep in.
So I have found it very freeing to not give a crap what other people think about my car or my boat or my house or whatever. Although, I have reasonably nice of all of the above, but they're mine and I love them and I don't care what anybody else thinks about them. And that really does make me happy.
And you're not paying for them now, right?
No, they're all paid for. My company doesn't have any debt, and my wife and I don't have any debt except for our house payment. And our house will be paid off in about 20 months.
Nice.
Done.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the whole not having a mortgage thing, that's awesome.
So Jamie, I'm seeing some parallels here. You're going from a gyrocopter into the hospital and then dealing with that. and getting back on your feet. And then you're jumping at, you know, Financial Peace University and getting out of debt and going on the Dave Ramsey show and having that debt-free scream, you know, 2 years later is pretty cool. I've heard that in one of your seminars in the past. But you took another leap of faith not that long ago with the creation of the Mixposium.
We did. So Mixposium, again, so it all started with my DJs were here. We were at rehearsal one night. We rehearse every Wednesday night. And they were talking about beat mixing. And beat mixing to me had always been, this is several years back, had always been kind of something I was okay at, but not really good at and didn't really understand. And they kept saying, you know, at that phrase, or after 32 beats. And I started realizing that beat mixing was as much of a math problem as it was being a geniusly creative person problem. And so I started teaching that to some of my other people that were coming up. And then I started to realize that they weren't really getting it either, because if you go to a room full of people, especially a room full of DJs, and you say, who here can count music? Everybody in the room can count music.
Right.
They can't all count music, but no one wants to say they can't count music.
Right.
So, and I realized that through working with my DJs and through my own mistakes. So again, lifting that veil to show that, hey, this isn't as hard as you think it is. Now, to be super creative and super good at it, to be, you know, one of the icons in the industry, or Jason Gianni, or even my guy Henry Race, or Gary Levy, these guys are really good. That takes a ton of practice.
Mm-hmm.
But to get started to where you can do a basic beat on beat mix is not super hard, and is a skill that can be taught in a day or two, depending on what level you want to go to. And then it's just practice from there. And it's, you know, how do you do this? And there are so many ways to do so many different things. But what Mixposium was created for was to be a 101, 201. If you do the 2-day course, we might bump into 301 a little bit level. Just how do I get started? Where do I go from here? What are, you know, who are some good people that I can deal with? I think that's as much as anything else, is we stay connected after the events, and still talk to one another, and you can always come back and get help. But it's that, again, lifting the curtain and going, hey, you know what? This isn't as hard as you think it is. This isn't magic.
So you did the first one in February of this year, correct? And Mitch, that was the one that you and Thomas attended together.
Yeah, Tom Heath and I did a road trip, and it was at the prodding of Robbie Britton for me to actually drive down versus fly down. Normally, I would fly down. And
did he bet you couldn't do it or something?
No, he just said I should do some coaching calls along the way to help pay for it, which I did.
Nice.
But the Mixposium that Jamie put on, I thought that for the money, it was. Sorry, I couldn't. I thought that it was a great experience. Seriously, no BS. It was a wonderful experience. And you're right, pulling back that curtain, trying to get up and beat mix in front of your peers is challenging. Mm-hmm. And the talent that you had in the room, you know, some of these gentlemen I didn't know before, like Tony Fernandez, and man, that guy is a genius. And Eric and Henry and Gary and, you know, the other guys that you had there, we all came together to get better, to grow, to learn something. Mm-hmm. And that was great. And I've, you know, to me, I had never mixed on 4 decks before. And Jamie showed me that. And I'm thankful for that, because now I use it all the flipping time. I did it this past weekend at my wedding on Sunday, you know. And so to be able to sample and learn and loop and just grow those skills beyond, I think too often we've been trained in the industry that the master of ceremonies is the end all be all. And I wouldn't say it is. I think you have to be well-rounded, just as anything in life and any skill set. And that's where, you know, I felt that I was lacking and I felt that it was a great experience. So kudos to you, Jamie, for putting
Thank you very much.
the Mixposium together. What was the hardest part for you about putting it together?
Just getting all of the butterflies herded into one spot and really kind of figuring out what everybody needed, because this came about on a whim, and that somebody said we should all get together sometime and do this. And I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. And so we just started from there. And so then we had to start figuring out, what do we need to make this happen? And for the one that will be going on actually when the show's aired at ARM DJs, I'm sitting right now and going through all of the stuff that I need to make it happen. Because, when you think about it at the beginning, you're like, hey, let's do this. And then you're like, we need stuff. We got to figure out how we're going to do this. Because we put cameras on everything, which is two things that we did I thought were really, really good. We hooked into the person's laptop.
Yes.
So that you could see what was going on their screen, and we put a camera from above going down onto their controller so that you could see what their hands were doing, because this was not look how good I am, look what I can do kind of event. Look how good I am, look what I can do, and let me show you how to do it type of event. And that's what we were looking for.
Jimmy, while you're talking, I keep thinking, and again, this is just me being the personality trainer and seeing everything through that lens. I think one of the things that has always made me feel connected to you is that common red personality that actually all three of us share. And I love what you just said about, yes, it started on a whim. It was an idea. People were just saying, oh, we should do this sometime. It would be good too. And I love that about the red personality type, that those tend to be the people that go from, yeah, this should happen sometime, to we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And I admire that about you immensely and respect that about you. And just love your willingness to share, whether it's the personal things that you overcame with the whole medical issues, to the debt approach to tackling debt and getting your finances in order, to the super practical nitty gritty of the business. You've always been one that is just willing to share what you know with other people. And I just really appreciate that about you.
Thank you. I try to help where I can. Somebody helped me.
So this isn't just a one-off. You have ARM DJs is a Mixposium that's happening this week, of course. You'll be in the midst of it when this episode airs. And then are there future Mixposiums coming up too?
There is. Let's see. Am I supposed to say this or not?
I thought you already announced one for next February down at your place, but am I wrong?
There's one coming up next February.
Okay. I think we can at least say that, can't we?
And there may be others. Is that what
I think ARM DJs is coming here right after that, because ARM DJs is going to a regional show after this year, or beginning this year. I think beginning this year. One or the other. I can't remember. Sorry, Robbie. But they're going to go to a regional show. So they're going to have like 6 shows around the Southeast. And we'll come down. We'll have the 2-day Mixposium, which is the full version, where we take classes all day, and then we go out. We take over a restaurant at night, and people get to DJ at the restaurant. Then we'll come back the next day, have class again, go out the next night, DJ at a restaurant again, hang out together, have some food, some drinks, and enjoy one another's company while we hear people spin. So that'll be a full one. And then I think ARM DJs or ARM DJ will be right behind that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got you on my calendar again for next February. So
that'd be awesome.
Nice.
It's going to be a great event.
Part 2.
Part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that goes on, and so many different levels that, you can come twice and you're going to hear some of the same things twice, but they're going to hit you a different way the second time for sure. And then things that you didn't understand at all the first time will now make sense the second time, because you're much better equipped to hear them.
Yes.
We tend to not learn things that we don't understand at all, and then we get to the point where we can understand them, and that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Those aha moments.
So, Jamie, what's the best way for someone to get in touch with you if they have questions about financial peace, or the Mixposium, or they just want to ask you or follow you and see what new thing you are going to create next?
Well, I'm pretty active on Facebook, and it's just Jamie Bodie on Facebook or JLK Events. We're located in Bluffton, South Carolina. Or you can email me if you want to get in touch with me. It's just Jamie, Jamie, at jlkevents.com. And if you want to get creative, I'm also the catch-all on that one, so you can put in anything you want, and it ends up coming to me as long as you don't put in one of our other names. But I get some creative ones from my friends. Yeah, I mean, and I'm happy to talk to you on the phone. I mean, 843-384-4749. Call me.
Cool. Thank you, Jamie, for being a part of the show today. Greatly appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you.
What a great episode with Jamie Bodie today.
He's such a great man. I'm so grateful that he was able to join us for this interview. It was really fun.
Jamie's the epitome to me of giver's gain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's always wanting to just give to help someone else move forward, and that's so awesome to see. So if you're looking to grow in your mixing skills, check out Mixposium. You can find more information on Mixposium. Just searching on Facebook, you'll find it. Or join us coming up in February, I should say, down in Bluffton, South Carolina. And there may be another Mixposium scheduled before that. So just hit up Jamie, and he'll help you out with that and let you know where the next one's going to be and how close it's going to be to you. Mm-hmm. Thanks for watching Creating Connections, listening to Creating Connections podcast, episode 167. I'm Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Vickie Musni.
We provide personal solutions through understanding people. We'll see you next time.
Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vickie Musni. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.